Court sided with a group of religious Maryland parents who want the option to keep their elementary-age children out of lessons involving books with LGBTQ content.
Now this is the kind of headline we'd like to see. The Supreme Court has sided with parents, yes, real American parents, saying that you have the right to opt your child out of LGBTQ themed books in public schools. Translation? The classroom is not your government-assigned moral compass. It's not a sexuality boot camp, and it's not a re-education center. It's supposed to be a place of learning, not confusion. Welcome back to Kimara Reacts. Thank you to my subscribers for your support, and newcomers, please help the channel grow by subscribing, like, and share the video. Don't forget to hit the bell notification. Let's react.
Ready or not? Ready or not? Here I come. Can't hide. Gonna find you and baby. Yo. Like a game of chess where I rest. No stress, no success.
Parents across this country are tired of being told they're phobic or ignorant because they don't want their 8-year-old reading books about sexual identity. That's not education. That's an agenda.
It's really a ruling for parents. They lost control of the schools. They lost control of their child. And this is a tremendous victory for parents.
We're going to talk to folks.
Schools are supposed to teach math, history, reading, and critical thinking, not gender theory and pronoun politics. The U.S. is falling behind in global education. We rank 36th in math, 13th in reading, and 18th in science, according to the OECD PISA 2023 rankings. Meanwhile, kids in Singapore, South Korea, and Finland are out here solving real-world problems, while our kids are being handed coloring books about gender identity in kindergarten.
Montgomery County first removed the opt-out choice in 2023. You're a mom of public school kids in Montgomery County. Why did you bring this case?
I brought this case because my husband and I have an adopted daughter from Ukraine. She had been in the public school system for 7 years. She is a child with special needs. She has Down syndrome. And we became aware that in her special needs classroom, they were presenting books on sexuality and heavy topics of gender ideology. And we became very alarmed by this. Then to find out that we could no longer opt out of these materials, nor be even informed of what she was being taught. The books were being presented and discussed. So we had to make the very difficult decision to remove her from the school system, and that came at a great personal cost, and we have been, walking through this case. So today we are really rejoicing to have those, by the Supreme Court, to have those rights restored.
So how much of this was because of your child's special needs, and how much was it because of whatever religious objections you and your husband might have?
For our family, this material was directly opposed to our religious beliefs. We are Catholic, and the things that were being presented were in complete conflict with our Catholic faith, and we were raising our daughter in the Catholic faith. So it was especially difficult for a child with special needs to not be able to understand why the teacher was teaching one thing and then to come home and be told something else.
And the left? Oh, they're mad. Because when parents push back, the machine loses control. But the Supreme Court just reminded them, parents run the home, not the state, not the school board.
The ruling does not remove these books from the shelves. It doesn't stop schools from teaching them. Why do you think this was a bad decision?
Well, thanks, Jake, for having me on. I think today's decision by the Supreme Court is unfortunately a drastic break from decades of precedent and has the potential to sow real chaos and disruption in public schools across America. For the first time under the Supreme Court's order today, parents with religious objections are empowered to pick and choose from a secular public school curriculum, which interferes with the school district's legitimate educational purposes and its ability to operate schools without disruption. And ironically, this ruling comes in a case where the curriculum is designed to foster civility and help young learners foster understanding across differences and agree and disagree with civility. So I think it's a very unfortunate decision that really is at odds with the history of the court's precedents on the First Amendment.
Let's read some of the decision written by Justice Alito. He talks about one of the books in question. It's called Uncle Bobby's Wedding. It's about a same-sex wedding. Alito writes, quote, "It presents acceptance of same-sex marriage as a perspective that should be celebrated. Other Americans wish to present a different moral message to their children, and their ability to present that message is undermined when the exact opposite message is positive, reinforced in the public school classroom," unquote. So Alito's argument is that parents should have the final word when it comes to teaching their children about morality, that they should have the final word when it comes to their education, especially if the government, the school, is teaching something that contradicts their religion. Why is that a problem for you?
Well, as Justice Sotomayor pointed out in her dissent, which includes the entirety of that book, Uncle Bobby's Wedding, points out, what really happened here is that the Montgomery County Schools District decided to have books that were inclusive on LGBT themes as well as other themes about inclusion of people of different races and people of different religions. And the issue is that these were all age-appropriate materials that portrayed an inclusive attitude toward people from across differences. The book itself, whether parents object to it or not, they can teach their kids what they want and react to those books at home. But in the classroom, up until today's decision, the Supreme Court has always said that as to a secular public school curriculum, parents don't get to pick and choose in that secular curriculum. What happened in the case below is that Montgomery County at first let parents opt out of this curriculum. And what they saw was rampant absenteeism, where kids were not in class. Sometimes kids would skip the entire school day. And there was a real stigmatizing effect on kids whose parents might be gay or lesbian. The whole point of the school curriculum and of a secular public school is that people must listen and learn to agree or disagree with civility.
It's real simple. If you want to raise your child in your values, your culture, your faith, that's your right. And no rainbow wrap curriculum is going to override that. If a child can't even sign their own field trip slip without a parent, they sure shouldn't be learning about gender identity without one either. To all the parents who stood up, this one's for you. To the schools pushing ideology over education, have several seats. And to the Supreme Court, thank you for doing what's right. The classroom is for preparing children for the real world, not reshaping them into someone else's image. Period. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell notification, and I'll see you on the next one.